Good evening, family of Rotary. Welcome to the final session of PETS 2021. Let me remind you for tonight and going forward that we're no longer working on Caribbean time, we're working on Rotary time. So we'll start on time. Now I can't promise you what time we'll finish this evening because tonight we got some outstanding speakers, and I am going to commit to you that we'll try and keep them here for as long as you have questions for them. So let me congratulate all of the incoming leaders, club leaders, who have taken the time over the last 2 weeks to sit before these Zoom screens and try to prepare themselves for leadership in the year 2021, 2022. If you recall, on the first evening, we had a program, some ceremonies. One time we didn't want to have ceremony every night, so we did it the first night. And then you heard from our district governor about the status of our district. And I thought that the words you heard should have been very inspiring, because as you will hear probably again tonight, we've probably got one of the best districts in Rotary. We heard a taped message from incoming President Sheikha Mehta. We heard from our district governor-elect, who spoke about his goals and his vision for Rotary District 7020 next year. And then on the second evening, we heard from Rotary Coordinator George Brunette, about how to effectively communicate within and outside of Rotary. We heard from our incoming director for our zone about the benefits of supporting hand wash in Haiti. And then we heard about our health programs, childhood obesity and diabetes challenges. And then we heard about the importance of membership. On our third evening, you were introduced to the Rotary Foundation. And now I think you have an understanding why I call Rotary Foundation the engine behind all of our service programs. You got insight onto the kinds of reporting requirements you need to do at the district level, as well as at the international level. And then you heard the message about why it's so important that we pay special attention to public image. This is the new Rotary. We can't hide our light under a bushel. We have to let the world know the good things that we do. So more people would come and would want to come and join us. And then in turn, we'll be able to have a greater impact in the world and in our communities. Now, this week, Monday, we had a presentation about goal setting. How are you going to set goals for your clubs this coming year? We had a very inspiring discussion on service projects and fundraising activities. Because you must remember that to be an effective club, one of the things you ought to be doing well is executing service projects, either within your community or joint projects around the globe. We then heard about what are the programs that we have for our youth, particularly Interact and EarlyAct. And of course, I don't know if we can call them a youth program anymore, but Rotaract, who has been elevated to equal status of Rotary. And then you got some ideas about how you as club leaders could lead or should lead other leaders within your club. And then I'm sure you remember just this past Wednesday evening when we had a very inspiring evening. First, we talked about disaster preparedness. Then we spoke about the environment and climate change. And then we had two inspiring presentations, one on conflict resolution, the other on how to build your own happy Rotary Club. I looked at your comments. I know you enjoyed those sessions. And tonight, we put the cream on top of the cake by bringing you our Rotary leaders to speak with you. And my job this evening is going to be a very easy one because I don't have to do any official introductions. It's like when the President of the United States speaks, he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States." That's the kind of clout these folks have. So you're going to be hearing from past Rotary International President Barry Rassin. You'll hear from our District Governor Charles Seeley. And then our District Governor-elect, your district leader, will wrap up the program. So Rotarians, sit back, relax. I want you to turn your screens on because by doing so, not only will you be able to better fellowship with your other Rotary partners, but you will give our presenters more incentive to be able to speak to you directly and to look you in the faces. I also want you to make sure that if you have questions, you put them in the chat box, or if possible, we also open the mics so you can ask your questions. I have a commitment from especially our featured speaker, our past Rotary International President, that even though he's a very busy person, he will stay as long as you have questions for him. So never mind the agenda saying 35 minutes for him. I'm using executive privilege. We're going to keep him for as long as we can. And let me also put out a caveat here. I know many clubs will want to have him to come and be speakers at your clubs. But let me just give you some advice. He's a very busy person. And so what I would do and offer you is if several clubs would get together during the course of your Rotary year, we will organize a session that he can come and speak to multiple clubs at a time so that every club in our district will get a piece of him. So I hope you accept my invitation and we try to make his job a lot easier because he have all these other commitments for Rotary. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, leaders in Rotary, let me introduce our first speaker, our own member of District 7020, past Rotary International President, Barry Rassin.
Thank you so much, Felix. You always make me feel good. I really appreciate the introduction. And I gotta tell you, it's so good to be with District 702. Oh, I feel like I'm home finally. This week I've been in Brazil, Venezuela, Ghana, Europe, and tomorrow morning I'm going to Wales. And I was at the business meeting for Great Britain and Ireland today. It's a crazy, crazy life we lead. Zoom has been found. I hope we lose it sometime soon. But the good news is we're able to have these conversations, and that's what's important, because I think we really need it after the year we've had. We've all been stuck at home. We've been stuck on our islands. We've been no ability to travel, no ability to have parties, no ability to get with our friends, no ability to do in-person Rotary meetings, maybe some hybrids, but it's been a challenge for all of us. And we need to look at it as the opportunity. You know, President Holger said, Rotary opens opportunities. Well, it's true. And it was an opportunity. We learned a lot of how we can do things differently and still be successful. And that's a good message for us. Some of us are asking, why didn't we do this years ago? All those Rotary International committees that we paid to fly all the way to Chicago to have a meeting, guess what? We learned from our lessons last year, and that's not going to happen in the future. We are right now in the process of going through every single line item in the Rotary budget, and believe me, there's a lot of line items that involve travel. And our goal is to reduce the travel budget by 25%. So we're making some serious changes at that level to make sure that we can reduce the cost of Rotary. Okay, we're making progress. So we've learned from it. We had a virtual convention, which, you know, we got the job done. Was it as good as being together in person and having that feeling of being with the whole world of Rotary? No, it's not quite as good. But we got the job done. We got the information there. We got the education and a little fellowship. But we have a long way to go if we want to get back. Houston next year, has already almost sold out their hotel rooms. Okay, Rotarians around the world want to come back together. So I urge you, make those reservations early, because it's going to be a big one, and it's going to be a good one. We got to make up for 2 years, so it's going to be a whole lot of fun. But President Shaker, your president, is coming in and he's saying, serve to change lives. What a great theme you have. Serve to change lives. That's what we do in Rotary. We change lives. I don't think I've made a speech where I haven't reminded Rotarians in the room and Rotaractors in the room that everything we do changes lives of people we never meet, we never see. So what a great theme. And President Shaker, you heard him. He's going to be a great president from India. You may not be aware, he's just come through a heavy bout with COVID-19. He got it pretty badly, was in hospital, but he's doing fine now and already back on putting his plans together to be ready for July 1st, like all of you are doing. So he's ready to go. And of course, our incoming President-elect, Jennifer, is also ready to go. She's working hard, making all of her plans so that she could have another great year following President Shaker. So lots of good things happening. My topic is to talk about what's new in Rotary and talk about embracing change. Well, first of all, we have embraced change. Okay, we took it on. We said, we're not going to let this stop us. We changed throughout the Rotary world. And there's so many different ways that we've done things differently. Imagine headquarters that has about 700 employees has been closed. Nobody's there, okay? Did anybody even notice? Because we got the job done. We still got our global grants done. We still got our funding done. We still got our programs finished. They were able to do it all from home. They're starting to come back now, but they're still not full force back until probably September. None of the Rotary International committees, board, trustees are going to meet in person until maybe after September. But we got the job done. And of course, Chairman Ravi is a workaholic, so he makes sure that where we would be meeting every quarter for 3, 4, 5 days in Chicago, he made sure we met every month for 2 or 3 days so that we could make sure we're ahead of the game. We're doing even more than we usually do. And it works fine and really haven't lost a beat. And that, I think, is a really important message for Rotary to tell the world. We have not lost a beat. We keep going, we keep changing, we keep saving lives on a regular basis. You know, the one sad thing this year is our membership challenge. We now have a membership of about 1,175,000. We've been talking about this 2 million membership for the last 20 years. We're actually going to budget next year for 1,145,000. And yes, some of that's due to COVID and people not meeting, and we don't really know who's going to pay dues and who isn't. But there's great concern over that because, you know, we do lose the dues that they pay to Rotary when our membership drops. And that means we need to cut our expenses because we always have a balanced budget. So if we lose a lot of dues with, say, 100,000 people leaving, then we've got to do some serious reductions in our budget. So that's a challenge still ahead of us, I believe. So we have to be really thoughtful. As presidents-elect, you've got to be thinking carefully about how are you going to engage your members. Because keep in mind, it's not about us finding new members. We're actually really good at that. It's about us keeping our members. Because people join our clubs and ask themselves, well, this isn't what I signed up for. Nobody's asked me to do anything. The club isn't doing a whole lot. And after 2 or 3 years, they leave. We've got to do better with that. Now, I say that, and I say that with great hesitancy because this district, out of all the districts in Zone 34, has done the best with membership so far this year. Last I saw was 152 growth. Only 2 districts out of all the districts in the 2 zones grew. We're the top of that list, number 1, guys. So when Felix says we're the best district in the world, I have to be more political when I say it, but we are, okay? Let's just face it, we are doing a good job. But don't don't get soft on me. We got to keep going. We really got to think carefully about how we continue our membership. My own club, and I see my president-elect here, she's got some work to do. Our weekly meetings, we have about 40, 50 members present, but we've got 150 members in the club. Do we really? What's going to happen to us? We've got to get very aggressive. And I know Mayuri is working hard to make sure that we don't lose those that we may be losing. So there's work for all of you to do as you look at that. Now, the Rotary Foundation has done a lot of different things this year. The amazing part, in spite of all this, and the economies of the world are in worse condition now than they were. In spite of that, we're going to reach our goal of $415 million into the foundation this year. And we're a little behind in polio. So we ask our districts to make sure they're providing some of their district designated funds. 20% is what is asked, so that we can meet our goal. We have to raise $50 million a year for polio so that we can get the Bill Gates challenge. And by the way, Bill Gates isn't going anywhere. I'm sure you've all heard he's going through some personal issues with separating his few dollars that he has. But he isn't going anywhere. He is committed for the long term to stay with Rotary with polio eradication. So we've got to make sure we raise that $50 million a year. And that's really important. And I know Lindsay Cancino just recently started the Polio Plus Society. I think it's a great idea, and it's a great opportunity for each one of us to re-look at our commitment to eradicating polio. And I'm sure you heard this week the amazing numbers we have. In the last 6 months, we've only had 10 cases of polio. And since January 1st, we've only had 2 cases of polio. 2 cases this year, and it's May. That is the first time ever. And that's because of Rotary. And that's because of Rotary in Pakistan, Afghanistan. Those folks are out there every single day, making sure they reach every single child. Even during that lockdown, we had some issues, but polio didn't grow, okay? And as soon as it was over, we got back out on the streets and Rotary was back to immunizing the kids. And that, I think, is extremely impressive. And they've been working with the government, make sure the government is still with them. The head of the Army is part of the team. And so we know it's gonna happen. We are going to eradicate polio. So we can't stop. We still have to immunize 450 million children every single year. That's just a reality we have to deal with. And that costs money. So there's still lots of money to get. And I understand the United Kingdom, understandably, because so many countries are facing this economic crisis, they cut their polio budget by 90%. That's significant. That's a challenge. We need to be talking to our governments, and Rotary is talking to the government of the United Kingdom to get that changed. And knowing the Rotarians who were in the position to talk to them, the government doesn't have a choice. They're going to have to. They're going to twist their arm until it breaks. So we'll get there, but we're doing really well with it. Now, last year was a challenge for our World Fund because we were doing all the usual grants we do. And by the way, last Rotary year, we had a record of global grants, 1,770 global grants around the world. That was a new record for us. This year, we expect to hit 2,800, 1,000 more than the record year for global grants, which is also incredible. Now, part of that is COVID-19. Rotarians around the world stood up and said, we have to help our communities. And Rotary, both through the Disaster Fund and the Global Grant Fund, provided $39 million in COVID-19 grants to help communities around the world to deal with whether it was PPEs, hospital equipment, food for those who need food, all the things we needed to do. Rotary stood up. Today, Rotary in many countries are helping the government to get the vaccines into the arms of the people of the country. Government turns to Rotary, okay? Keep that in mind. Why? Because they trust us. They know our infrastructure, they know our networking, they know our ability to get the job done. And I think that's incredible that we have that kind of reputation, and we have to maintain that reputation. So last year, with those extra global grants I mentioned, The World Fund was put into pressure. The trustees have had to make some changes starting July 1st. If there's any interest in our district giving Polio Plus to the Polio Plus Fund from our district designated funds, we need to do it before July 1st because the World Fund will match us 100% between now and then. And I think May 31st is the deadline for that. But after July 1st, they'll only match it 50%. So we can get closer to our goal if we give that district designated fund. If we're not going to use it, Mr. Governor-elect Louis and District Governor Charles, please give it to polio. And I see Patrick saying we already did. Thank you, Patrick. I should have gone to you first, but that's excellent, fantastic. We also changed the match when the DDF funds go to a global grant. We were matching at 100% for global grants. Now we're going to change that to 80%. We're also, for those districts around the world who aren't using their district designated funds, we're going to now limit that to 5 years, starting July 1st. So they got 5 years. If they don't use it and don't decide how to spend it, then Rotary is going to decide how to spend it for them. It's not a savings account. We also started our programs of scale this year for the first time. We provided a $2 million grant, and it was very competitive. We had 72 applications and brought that down to 6 really amazing projects. But we finally gave it to a project in Zambia where their plan is to eradicate malaria from the country. Okay, we gave them $2 million. They got matched by 2 other groups. By the way, one of those is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But they matched $2 million and another foundation matched. So they actually have a $6 million grant going on to eliminate malaria in Zambia. Fantastic. And we continue all of what we do around the world through the Rotary Foundation. We also last year added an area of focus. Now, since at least 10 years, when we finally started with our 6 areas of focus, we haven't changed that. And we said we've got to go, I believe they probably said 7 years before we even look at it. Let's make sure it works. Let's evaluate it, measure the outcomes. And when they did that, they made no changes. But over the last year, we did change and added a 7th area of focus for the environment. And that gives us an opportunity. Now, we've spent $18 million over the last 5 years doing environmental projects through one of the 6 areas of focus. Now we have an opportunity to do bigger, more impactful projects specifically for environmental projects. And that's, again, an opportunity for us to show the world how important our environment is and that we continue to do things to make our world a better place. And of course, I have to mention that we continue to elevate Rotaract. I know you've heard about that this week. We've made a lot of progress. We have changed the Constitution of Bylaws, which is no easy task. We changed that. And then since that time, 2 years ago, we have changed many policies so that Rotaract is as close to equal to a Rotary Club as it's possible. Now, that being said, there's a couple of big ones left. One is to change our Rotary.org and My Rotary so that Rotaractors have equal access that Rotarians do. That is on the list of things to do. It is going to be done. They have promised me, and they know I won't stop asking until they get it done. But it's going to cost multi-millions of dollars to do it. And so they have to finish a couple of the projects that are in the queue to get done. And then Rotaract will finally, and by the way, we're all going to benefit because we all know that Rotary.org and My Rotary could use some help. I think most of us, when we search, we don't search on Rotary. I just did this yesterday. I was looking for something, couldn't find it on the Rotary website, so I went to Google, found it in a heartbeat. Google knows our website better than we do. So we need to do some things to make that better. But Rotaract is there. What our position now with Rotaract is we've changed the policies, we've changed the Constitution, now we have to change the culture. And that means Rotary clubs need to be asking themselves, are you really relevant to today's young professionals? when a young person looks at our Rotary Club, at your Rotary Club, do they say, that's the place I want to be? When we ask, they say, when they look around, they don't like long, boring meetings. They don't want to pay a whole lot of dues and not get value for those dues. They want to meet at a time that makes sense for them. And that's usually right after work, because they don't have time during the day to leave their job. They got a new family, they have a new job, they're working their career. We have a responsibility to them to help them with their leadership skills. So they want to be a part of us. They love what we do to change the world. So don't ever forget that. They want to be a part of making our world a better place. They don't necessarily want to do it the same way we do. So we need to change our culture and listen to them to see how they want to do it, and then see how we work together to make our clubs more relevant to young professionals. In past years, Rotaractors didn't join Rotary clubs in many parts of the world. Now again, our club is a little exceptional. We do much better. And I quite often use our district as an example to the world. Especially, I apologize if I insult anybody here, but especially to our friends to the north. They are one of the weakest countries in the world when it comes to Rotaract. They don't know how to bring young professionals into the organization. So our district is a great example of how to do it and how to be successful. But we've got to keep our eye on that. We've got to stay focused, and we've got to keep being relevant to the new generations as they come up, as we have. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and then be happy to open it up for questions. And that's a committee called Shaping Rotary's Future. Now, this committee has been working for a couple of years. I happen to be the chair. And we were asked to look at Rotary and think of how Rotary should be structured if we were to start Rotary today. Not 115 years ago, but today. What would it look like? What would be different? In other words, don't just look at what we are and try to change it. What would we look like today if we started? And we've done that. We've got a model that we put together. I meet probably 4 days a week and talk about this to different parts of the world. We have a couple of regions, more and more want to be pilot regions. The concept is, instead of the 34 zones we have around the world that are divided by the number of members, so every zone has to have some 35,000 members, whatever the 1.175 divided by 34, that's what a zone has to be. And therefore you end up with areas within the zones that aren't necessarily compatible. We have countries that fight with each other in the same zone. That makes no sense. So what we want to do is regionalize the world. Instead of 538 districts, have 40 or 50 regions, and the region would be defined by the culture, the language, and the geography, primarily culture though. And then that region would have a board of directors of 12 or 13 people, and the regional board would be responsible for the administrative work of the entire region. Now they would have section leaders under them, each one of which would have 10 to 25 clubs. And by the way, both Rotary and Rotaract clubs. So they'd both be there under the guidance of these section leaders. And they would have no administrative responsibility. Whereas today, our district governors, it's an almost impossible job. There's very few people who have the time, like Felix and Charles and Louis, to be able to visit 184 clubs if you put Rotary and Rotaract together, and in 10 countries on 16 islands. The time for doing that is incredibly difficult. So, and it's not just us, there's other section leaders who are really responsible for the motivation and guidance for clubs. Then we would have a greater ability to take the message from Rotary International into our Rotary clubs. And because there are some parts of the world that the clubs don't have a clue what Rotary is doing. I hope we're not in that group. I don't think we are in that group. But there are regions where you go to a Rotary club and they're just a club. They meet, they do some stuff, and they go home. We need all our clubs to be Rotary and Rotaract clubs doing the service to humanity that we need to do. That's how we change the world. I believe we could do 10 times more service if we restructured the world so that we really could help every single club get stronger of Rotary. So with that, we also would have a new cadre, not the stewardship cadre you know of, but a cadre certified in all the various aspects of Rotary. So certified in membership growth, certified in membership engagement, certified in public image, certified in all of the things we do. And when those section leaders see a club that could do better with membership engagement, they can call the expert in. And there'll be many more experts around the world on an international basis, so they're closer to the regions and they can get help. Also, it's the clubs that would elect the section leaders and the board. So the clubs have a much greater say in who the leaders of the region are. That gives the ability for clubs to have a greater feeling of being involved in what we do. So we are moving ahead with this. The board is very polite to us. They don't necessarily concur with all of our ideas. You know, we're a little extreme in our changes, but we believe this is a good change. The interesting thing is a lot of clubs around the world that have heard it said, yes, we like the idea, whereas the senior leaders of Rotary aren't so sure. So we're in that mix right now. But that being said, just last night I met with Australia and the staff, and we've agreed that Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Islands will be the first pilot to be a region. And they're already working on how to set up their board. Interesting that people ask, how long is it going to take to do this? Many years. I believe probably 9 years before we get to where we want to be. And that's because just setting up one pilot, we're going to meet with every one of their 19 districts, one by one, so that we can explain it to them, because they have to agree to this. We can't just go in and say we're going to do it. They have to agree. So we're going to have to meet with them one by one, and we're going to have to meet with the governors and explain to the governors. A lot of governors are concerned what's happening to the governors. They'll still be here. They're still our leaders, but it's just a different structure of how we do it. So that's a lot of changes that we're looking to make. And, you know, change, we all say, yes, I want change. But when change affects us, we all say, no, I don't want to change. And that's the reality we're dealing with right now, which is really fun when you have those conversations with individuals in different areas. But I spoke to Brazil this week with all the current district governors of Brazil, and they want to be a pilot for us. I spoke with Africa last week. They want to get a couple of their countries together. They'd need 5 or 6 countries to be a region to be big enough, but they want to be a pilot. Spoke to Europe. They want me to come back to them because they want to talk about being a pilot. So there's interest. Is it well understood? Have we worked out every single detail? No, absolutely not. We're nowhere near that. And there's a lot of work to be done. You imagine our committee of, I think we have 7 members on the committee, 7-member committee with 12 subcommittees, working with the staff, looking at every aspect of the model, making sure we've thought of everything we possibly can before we even start a pilot. Agreeing last night to doing a pilot in Australia, Pacific Islands, New Zealand, we're probably 2 years away from starting the pilot because all the work that leads up to just doing that one. So a lot of things there are going to be different. So, you know, why I'm proud to be a Rotarian is because while COVID-19 has stopped a lot of organizations, has reduced significantly their ability and their membership, Rotary hasn't. We've dropped some members, but we will meet our foundation targets. We will do more service this year than we've ever done on an international level, which is incredible. On the other hand, our world needs us more than ever. There are people out there who 2 years ago, they were okay. Today, they don't have food to eat or a place to live. Rotary has to be there to help them to get through this. So we've got work to do to get where the world needs us. So I appreciate the time you've given me. And like I said, it's so good to be home and see all the friendly faces. Thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you very much, PRIP. We have a couple of questions for you. Sorry, but before I pose those questions, it occurred to me while you were speaking that while many of us are very familiar with all of your Rotary accomplishments, there are some young Rotarians on here who need to be reminded or may not even know. And so rather than giving your whole bio, I just want to make sure they understand the significance of what a president of Rotary International is, especially coming from our district, Small District. Also, not only are you a past president of Rotary International, but you're a member of the Rotary Foundation. If I may say, we expect that you will be the chairman of the foundation in the coming years. So Rotarians, I want you to know that you have a superstar celebrity in front of you, so ask away your questions. So let me start with the questions I have in the chat. The first one is, could you explain the difference between the wild polio virus and the vaccine-derived polio? Too many people think that the vaccine causes the virus.
Yeah. Okay, what happens with the wild polio virus is the virus itself. And that is what children get crippled and die from, the wild polio virus. Now, in countries where we have done lots of immunizations, lots of vaccinations, but the nutrition is very poor, then what happens is their excrement, if you will, is in the environment. So you find environmental samples of the polio virus. It's not the wild polio virus because it came from individuals who have been vaccinated. They're fine, they don't have it, but because it came like that, people do get affected, and we have to measure that just like we measure the wild polio virus. The good news with that is that all we have to do when we see the circulating virus, we have to go into that area and vaccinate everybody immediately, and we can stop it within days. We have an amazing system where we track this stuff on a daily basis. We know when it's a breakout, we go in, and within a week or two, it's gone. But because there's so many countries that have such bad nutritional problems right now, that's a breakout. On the other hand, we've had the lowest amount of circulating, vaccine-derived circulating polio virus, the lowest amount we've ever had in the last 3 weeks. So as we eliminate the wild polio virus, we also eliminate the circulating virus. So it's very different. It's not as lethal as the wild polio virus. It is only because of the bad nutrition in those countries that have been vaccinated.
Second question. Thank you for that one. Why are polio vaccines given every year?
It's a virus. When you have a virus, when you have a flu, you got your flu shots every year. We have to make sure that individuals, again, in countries that don't have good nutrition, giving a child with diarrhea as an example, you can give them a vaccine today, and if everything just goes through the system, they're not maintaining it in their system. So we have to give it on a regular basis. There will come a day where we don't have to do the vaccines any longer because we've eradicated it off the face of the earth. That day will come, but it's going to be a long time. Meantime, we have to vaccinate every child every year to make sure we don't spread it from the one person or two people who might have the wild polio virus today.
Another question. What will Rotary do after polio is eradicated?
Yeah, that's a popular question, and there's not going to be a change. We've made that conscious decision at the Rotary Board and the Foundation that we will stay with polio as our #1 priority until it's certified as being eradicated. We have a plan in place that It takes 3 years to certify it's been eradicated from the last case. So a year and a half after that last case, we will start making plans as to what we will do after polio. And what that'll be will come from the Rotary world, and we'll go to the Council on Legislation, and they will decide what will happen after polio.
Thank you. Question. With the lessons learned during the current pandemic, both highs and lows, what does District 7020 look like post-pandemic?
Tough question. You know, we're going to come out of this smiling. We're going to come out of this better than ever. We're going to come out of this strong. We are going to have to probably rebuild in some parts of our district. But we've learned a lot of lessons. We learned that we can be very effective by Zoom and still get the job done. And yet we also know that we've got to go back to in-person meetings so that our fellowship is what it should be. It's the fellowship that makes us so successful as an organization. So we need that as well. We need to go back to those things. But you're going to see us going back to what we used to think of as normal, but with some exceptions, using more electronic media and doing a lot more electronically, but knowing when we need to be together as our clubs and as our district, as our zone. So we're going to get back to it, but it's going to be longer than we think. If we all get vaccinated and have full coverage, then we start taking off our masks and we start doing what we used to do. And one of our challenges is those anti-vaxxers are going to inhibit our ability to get herd immunity. And if we don't get herd immunity, then more people are going to die. So it's the anti-vaxxers that are causing us a serious problem to get our countries back where we need to be.
Thank you. PRIP, I have a question for you. I suspect that incoming leaders will notice that a lot of our education is more focused on leadership training and developing leadership skills or enhancing leadership skills as opposed to being specific Rotary related material. Could you help to explain to them why that is necessary?
That's actually very interesting because we tried for years to do that. We felt that there was too much emphasis on Rotary information and not enough on leadership. If you're a good leader and have the skills of a good leader, you can run a good club. And you can learn Rotary as you go. I'm not discounting Rotary information, okay? So please don't go that direction. But a great leader leads and takes their clubs where no other person can take them. We need good leaders. We're in a position to change our countries. We're in a position where governments listen to Rotary presidents. When you have those kind of meetings, you need to be a leader who steps up and does all the right things. For those reasons, we need to train all of our presidents to be good leaders. There's lots of Rotary information. By the way, if you read everything you get, you're going to know everything there is to know about Rotary. But if you listen to the training of leadership, that's when you get what's going to help you best. And I got to tell you, I learned more leadership skills from being a member of my Rotary Club than I ever learned from my master's degree or from my business. It was being able to be a leader of volunteers that helps you understand how to really lead people as people. You don't tell them what to do, you have to work with them and work together. Whereas in employer-employee relationships, especially in the Caribbean, still have the old-fashioned dictator type mode. That isn't a good leader for Rotary, okay? For Rotary, we need a servant leader, somebody who is there to help their successors be great leaders better than they are, to be the real leaders that we need. So I am a firm believer that our obligation is to train you how to be good leaders in any way we can. And so I'm a strong supporter of that.
Thank you for that. I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I'm assuming that we've exhausted our questions. Sorry, I'm told that oh, sorry. Should Rotary clubs get involved in promoting taking COVID-19 vaccines? Is there any RI guidance on central message?
I actually have about a 10-page document from Rotary International Board as to what Rotary should and should not do. It's not polio vaccine, okay? Therefore, we are a little more cautious. So Rotary does not recommend we buy vaccines, as an example, and distribute them, because it's still only under approval for emergency use. But they do suggest that anything we can do to help with the education of why you should take the vaccine and help the populations to take the vaccine, that's what our role should be. And perhaps some of the supplies that go with it. But the one thing they don't want to do is to buy the vaccine. And part of that is because if we start doing that, we're going to take our eye off of buying the polio virus vaccine. And we can't do that. So it's about helping the infrastructure, helping with the education, helping the governments do what they do, but not taking any stronger role than that.
Thank you so very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank PRIP Barry for spending the last 45 minutes with us, a little bit more, and sharing his vast Rotary knowledge. It isn't often that folks at our level get to have an intimate discussion with someone at Barry's level. And so it's always a real treat when we get this opportunity. As you can hear from the discussion, he is a vast reservoir of knowledge. And so District 7020 is privileged to have him as our godfather. And I'll tell you, he's someone who, even though he is really busy, he takes the time to mentor other Rotarians to ensure that all of us have an opportunity to shine in Rotary. And so he is going to leave Rotary with a huge, huge legacy. And we just have to keep our eyes open to see which of Barry's mentees will follow in his footsteps. Thank you so much, Barry. We know you've been very busy, not only in all your Rotary stuff, but you spend all your day doing volunteering and leading volunteers for the COVID vaccination in the Bahamas. We know you probably spend 8 to 10 hours a day on Zoom calls for Rotary. And so we really appreciate that you can come and spend this time with us on a Friday afternoon or evening. And my commitment to you is that when I look at the cadre of incoming leaders for the year 21-22, I can give you every assurance that they're going to continue to make you proud of District 7020.
Great. Thank you, Felix.
And so now, as your moderator and also as your district trainer, let me put on my principal's hat. I see we have 145 persons on the call. So 45 of us came in after I introduced our guest speaker. And I just want to remind you that as Rotary leaders, we have to set examples. We don't go by Caribbean time, we go by Rotary time. Secondly, I didn't introduce who I call a special group of people at the beginning of the program. And I think they're special not because I'm one of them, but because I know the sacrifices that they make when they commit at least 1 year or 2 or 3 years training to lead this district as your district governor. And so I'd like to take the time to especially welcome the ones I see. I may have missed 1 or 2, but I see past District Governor Haresh. You heard from him earlier in the week. We have past District Patrick, and you heard from him. We have past District Governor Rupert, and Rupert has been a district trainer for a number of years. In fact, I worked on his team for a number of years. And we have the first female district governor in our district, past District Governor Diana. And by the way, she is in the UK or somewhere in Europe. So right now it's like 1:21 her time. And she's still up showing her love for District 7020. So PDG Diana, welcome. Thanks for joining in. We also have on the call, of course, our district governor-elect, who you'll hear from later. and you've been introduced to him previously. We have District Governor nominee, Deborah, who you heard from earlier this week. And I didn't see our District Governor nominee designate, David, but hopefully you'll get to meet him as well. So Rotarians, it is now my pleasure to introduce to you our current District Governor, who you heard from on day one. But tonight he's talking to you on a different subject. Please help me welcome District Governor Charles.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, PDG Felix. And good night, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors. You know, if I had a choice of the one speaker I would not want to speak after, but every 5 options, it would be Barry Rassin. And so thank you for putting me right behind past Rotary International President Barry. I'm glad we're actually not in person, because this is the time when everyone starts to leave the room, when the next speaker comes on. But it's always good to be a student at his footsteps and to hear from him and to celebrate what he's done in his journey. He actually did an awesome job of speaking to the excellence of this year, particularly in District 7020, which I'm extremely proud of. When he talked about the numbers and growth, and I threw in my 207 because I just wanted to know it went up as 207. Now I'll tell you, it did come back down to 198. So we lost a couple of members, and that's something that we have to be vigilant of. But when you really think of the grand scheme this year, we added to this district 315 persons in total. 315 persons came to Rotary through District 7020. We lost, of course, a number that would cause us to come down to that 198. And that's something that we have to be aware of. But in the midst of it, we were able to re-engage, reignite 32 former members to come back to the fold. So when someone leaves Rotary, that doesn't mean they're gone. And that's why I encourage the clubs, keep those relationships. They have already had the Kool-Aid. They understand why we do what we do. So make sure, presidents, you seek out your former members, keep them a part of the family of Rotary, keep them engaged. I also want to really thank those who are part of the Polio Plus Society. It's an exciting opportunity. We want a charter with 200 members. And what you're doing is committing to $100 every year to ensure that we get rid of polio. We're not going to stop until polio is gone. And that commitment is $100. And guess what? It goes towards your Paul Harris Fellow. So it's not lost. It's not something that's it's another way of giving. And of course, it provides benefits. Right now, we have 98 persons signed up. We want 200. So those of you who are on the call, I'm hoping that you get a little excited and you come and join us in making this commitment to ensure that we rid our world of polio. Well, I'm in the kitchen, guys. I'm in the kitchen. And every year, my Rotary Club has an annual stakeout where we do steaks and barbecue chicken. And for the last 12 years, I make the barbecue sauce. And so I spent several hours in my kitchen the night before prepping and preparing this barbecue sauce. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I also do a nice garnish with onions. You have to come to the Bahamas and taste it. That goes with your steaks. But what else is cooking? I mean, what else is going on? So right now, what's happening is we've got a district conference committee, and they're cooking up a wonderful occasion for you to journey with us through our district assembly and district conference. It's going to be different. One thing that this year has given us is nuance. It's given us difference. And so I'm hoping that we can excite you. We can encourage you to get your members on board to participate. This is a partnership with District Governor-elect Louis, as the district assembly falls under his purview, and we're happy to work along with him to plan an exciting 2-day event that you all will, I'm sure, benefit from. Yes, we can't meet in person, and you all know the story, because you can imagine I wanted to ensure that we had some physical opportunity. So yes, I'm the most probably disappointed. But you know what? Any opportunity where we can engage is a good opportunity. So I'm looking forward to the virtual platform. So they're cooking up a program to get you all excited to be a part of. Of course, it's May 29th is our first event. Now, there is some information going out that says it starts at 8 o'clock. It actually starts at 9 a.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time, EDT, or We call it in the Bahamas Miami time. So it's Miami time, starting at 9 a.m. And I've been really intentional of inviting my teams this year as we planned district events to host it on a Saturday morning. And that's really, you know, we talked about now, past District Governor Diana, we have some persons who are in some time zones that when we do it in the morning on a Saturday morning, it works for the benefit of everyone. And so we're about District 70-20 strong. And so we're ensuring that everybody can participate. It goes from 9 to 2, so you still have a considerable amount of your day left to be able to enjoy. So I'm begging of you just to kind of portion that time on your calendar for 2 days, May 29th and June 5th. On May 29th is when we're going to have our opening ceremony. And usually our opening ceremony is only for the district conference. Well, this year, it's the opening ceremony for the district assembly and conference. And so it's just going to have a little bit of a different flair, but we're happy to have a number of marquee speakers, and we've pulled from our own district because we've got a wealth of talent in our district who are skilled and knowledgeable. We've invited members from the zone, past Rotary International directors to be a part of it. We've invited Toastmasters to also be a part of our presentations. And we've also invited other groups like Toastmasters to be with us. So I'm hopeful that you would be with us over those 2 days. On the May 29th, we will have our business meeting. And this is an important meeting, particularly for you leaders, so that you appreciate what are the nuggets, what are the things that guide us, and also to be a part in determining what ought to be some of the key decisions for us as a district as we move forward. And so the business session will be on the May 29th, and I'm hoping that you all can participate. We will have the district assembly topics on the 29th, and on the 5th is where we'll have our conference speakers. And so I'm excited about that and looking forward for some nuggets of information, but more importantly, inspiration to get you going. The district conference, as I say to persons, you will have an award ceremony. And I'm always careful of awards because, sometimes you celebrate a particular group and it means you're not celebrating the remainders. And that's far from the truth. Every Rotary Club is doing something magnanimous, really tremendous in their areas. And I want to celebrate them totally. And I want you to know that, that one project that a club may do may have more impact than a bunch of projects by another club. And so I'm very cautious about this. But we did give some guidance to our clubs this year of some things that we wanted them to focus on. And we hope to recognize those clubs during that time. It's not a reward that we're giving them. It's an acknowledgement. It's an acknowledgement of the excellence. And so I'm hoping you'll be there also for the award ceremony that will be a part of the 2-day event as we recognize our clubs. And as I've invited them also to try and ensure that we celebrate the music of the district. I know it's the Bahamas and I'm the Bahamian district governor, but I'm only the Bahamian district governor because I'm from the Bahamas. I'm the district governor of 7020. And we're gonna celebrate 70-20 strong on those 2 days. So get your members excited. And I've done something even more fantastic. I've reduced the price of participating to a flat rate of $0. So it's not gonna cost you a thing. All you have to do is commit some of your time. So members, look forward to seeing all of you. It's so easy just to go on the district website, go to the website. If you look at the link to the right corner, you'll see the opportunity of how you can register for the district conference and the district assembly. And we look forward to seeing you. But as leaders, what I want you to do is to excite your members to be a part of it. So go out there, spread the news, get them excited to being involved. For your members who may be challenged on how to register, have some techie person in the club, help them with their registration so they can be with us on those 2 days. That's all for now. Enjoy your remainder of tonight and congratulations. The journey is going to be awesome. Looking forward to being a support to you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much, District Governor Charles, for that wonderful presentation. We look forward to the next 2 Saturdays, and I'm sure all our presidents-elect will ensure that their teams come to enjoy the conference, but particularly to be a part of the business meetings so that they can help to determine the future of our district. So make sure you work hard on that barbecue sauce because I think I'm getting one of those steaks tomorrow and I don't want my sauce out of taste, So let me then take a few minutes to go through some district training administrative things. But before I do that, I want to add one small item to the agenda, and I'm going to ask past Assistant Governor Karen Pinder to please come and just give the presidents-elect, secretaries-elect, and treasurers-elect an idea about Club of the Month program and how we recognize our clubs every month. So Karen?
Hi, PDG Felix. Thank you so much for this opportunity. But first, thank you for organizing this amazing PETS training experience. It's been 2 weeks of just amazing speakers, interesting topics, and really inspiration. So thank you for that. This year, 2021-2022, I have the honor and privilege of serving as Club of the Month Chair. Currently, I'm working with outgoing Chair PAG Novelette on doing the annual review. I would encourage all of you, if you have some suggestions as to what went well this year, maybe some opportunities for next year, to please submit them. We're very much open for your feedback. So you can see my contact in Club Runner. Just drop me an email on WhatsApp as well in the Caribbean Massive Chat. So please send me some feedback about this program that's so dynamic. I would just like to give you a couple basics though. Firstly, the program runs from August to April. Each month we provide a theme for which we ask you as a club to sort of focus your activities around and then submit an application for the opportunity to be awarded Club of the Month based on that theme and the activities that your club would have done. We have divided the district into 3 basic size groups based on the population of members. So we pretty much divided into 3 even buckets of small, medium, and large clubs. And so based on the size of your membership, you'll be competing in that category. You'll be awarded points for first, second, and third, as well as points for submission. We have a very deep committee. We have judges from every territory. And we have this program's been going on for a number of years. I had the privilege many years ago when I was a past president, just having completed my term as past president, as serving as a judge. So I think the committee, if I'm not mistaken, or this program was actually launched by PDG Diana White. So it's been going on for a long time and we've learned a lot, we've enhanced it, we've improved it. And like I said, I welcome your feedback. So look out for more details. They'll be forthcoming once we complete our review, and we'll provide further details on the themes of the month. They kind of coincide with the RI themes, but not necessarily exactly so. So pay attention to that. We'll also advise you how you submit your entries, what we're looking for, the judging criteria. All of those details will be forthcoming, but I just want you to be aware of this program. If your club has not participated in the past, please be sure and do so. It's a really interesting program. You get to see a lot of what other clubs are doing and you get recognized for your achievements. So thank you so much, PDG Felix, for allowing me this time on the program to speak about the Club of the Month. Look forward to everyone participating. Thank you.
Thank you, PAG Karen. So, Rotarians, I am standing between you and your district governor-elect and then your party afterwards. But I do want to make a couple of comments, and hopefully you'll take them in the vein that I'm offering them. I asked past Rotary National President Barry the question on leadership so that his answer would justify or legitimize what I would want to say now. And you would have noticed that over this year and previous years with PETS, we've gradually changed the presentations from Rotary information centric to Rotary information with emphasis on leadership. And it's important that we do that because you always hear that Rotary is really done by the clubs on the ground. So you create the impression that the public has of Rotary. If you're doing a good job in your communities at the Rotary Club level, then the Rotary International and Rotary globally will have a reputation of being a wonderful service organization, well, a wonderful membership organization that does great service. So when you hear your Rotary leaders say that you as club presidents are the most important persons in Rotary. Believe them, because it's what you do is going to determine what the world thinks of Rotary. And so I don't want you to think that the education that you would have gone through over the past 2 weeks is all that you're going to get. On a number of occasions, I've made a reference, and other people have made a reference to the Rotary Learning Center. It is probably the most robust online learning platform that I've seen in some time outside of a university or college programs. And I want you to take advantage of that. But beyond that, I will be sending to all of the presidents and the secretaries, and if you can find the right information, to the treasurers as well, and also to members of your boards, a particular curriculum that we would like you to go to the Learning Center and complete. Now, I have to tell you, we can verify that you do it or not. Because when you do a program, and some are 15 minutes, some are half an hour, and most of them may go as an hour and a half, 90 minutes. But they're very well done. And if you go through those programs, you will have all the knowledge that you need to be good leaders. And as I was saying, at the end of each module, you get a certificate. So that's one way you can show your assistant governor that you did the program. But I'll also give you a heads up. Every Monday morning, I get a listing of all of the persons in our zone who has done any education on the Rotary Learning Center. So I will be monitoring that, and I will be sharing the information with your assistant governors to say who is doing what or who hasn't done anything. And so your assistant governor will be coming to you to make sure you get that training done. Because if you read the district manual, and I know that some of you probably don't even know what a district manual is, but you go to the district website, on the front page is the link to the district manual. Please either download it or read it online, because in that manual is the guidelines on how our district should operate. And there is also a requirement that while we expect secretaries and treasurers to do PETS training, presidents-elect cannot take office unless they do the training that's required of them, especially PETS. You remember day one, I said to you that your AGs will be monitoring you to make sure that you're participating. They will be expected to give a report to your district governor-elect, and he will decide whether you've done sufficient to take office. He also has the power to create special programs to ensure that you do what is necessary to certify yourself to be the leader. But there also be the exceptions. You have to have good excuses as to why, I'm talking to people who are here, but talk to your colleagues, why those persons who didn't attend, they may not be able to take office. Because it's very important that we have qualified persons taking the leadership. And we want to make sure that you have every opportunity to do a good job. Secondly, last year, we did PETS training in dual language, English and French. I determined this year that it was a little bit more difficult to try and do it simultaneously because the translation was not really good, because if the speakers were speaking at too fast a rate, the translators had difficulty translating properly, and French Rotarians didn't get the proper training that they need. And those Rotarians in Haiti, in St. Bart's, and in the Rotary Club of St. Martin North. And so we will, with the help of Assistant Governor Chantel in Haiti, develop a special program just for our French leaders. And we'll have that out to you in the next couple of weeks. So she and I, while you guys are partying after the session, we'll have a discussion on how to move that forward. I would also want to say to our presidents that you needn't think that you're alone in this journey. And if you listen to A.G. Khaled the other night when she was talking about conflict resolution, we need not fool ourselves. Sometimes this job can become very difficult. And sometimes we may want to walk away and quit, but remember, go back to the video and listen to that presentation as to why you or what you should do to make sure that you stay focused and stay motivated. But I want to point out to you that there are some support persons who you can turn to. Your number one external Rotary priority is polio. Your number one internal Rotary priority is membership. And I want you to be able to turn to your district membership chair, Ms. Marcella Henry, who is living in St. Martin, and she will help you with membership programs. Your district governor will also be able to help you. As a matter of fact, I will be speaking with our district governor-elect, Louis, the district governor-elect from 7030, and the district governor-elect from 7000, and working with them to ensure that they have some programs around membership growth to help you as club presidents to grow your club. You remember now that our president-elect has indicated that he wants to grow Rotary by over 200,000 members. He wants to be 1.4 million by June 30th, 2022. You have to share in some of that pain, so you need to make sure that you grow your clubs. Not one member, 2 members, 3 members. We have to look at significant growth for every club. So I'm counting on you to again have District 7020 lead our zone in membership growth again during your year. You also have a group of persons who work as Rotary coordinators, and you would have heard from George Robertson Brunette a couple of nights ago when he spoke about communications. He is the current leader for the Rotary coordinators. He will now demit office in June. He'll be replaced by a new guy by the name of Mike Dora, who's already spoken to your district governor-elect. And I will have the responsibility of leading the membership charge for 7,000, 7020, and 7030. So you have me as well. And then at the Rotary International headquarters, some of you may know Audley Knight, who is a former member of 7020, who has now moved to Atlanta. He now works for Rotary International, and he is the regional membership officer. And trust me, Audley still have a passion for 7020. So if there's any help you need from Rotary International staff, he'll be only too happy to help you with that. I want to say to you presidents that when we talk about having a club that is vibrant, we like to think that there are 4 things that vibrant club will do well. I want you to remember them. One is you have to grow your membership. A vibrant club is a growing club. You have to have successful service projects. Your role is to make sure that you leave your community better than you met it. You have to support the Rotary Foundation. And one of the things that I want to put special emphasis on is that we need to make sure that we train our leaders to don't just be leaders within our clubs, to be leaders beyond the club, whether it's at the area level, the country level, the district level, or beyond. We want to make sure that those persons who show leadership potential are given the opportunity to show their talents, to use their talents in Rotary. And the final comment is DG Charles has spoke about the business meeting at the district conference. You have a responsibility to attend that meeting to ensure that the views of your club is heard at our business meetings. Too often, we don't pay that sufficient emphasis as we should, but your responsibility is to make sure that if you're not there personally to represent your club, some member is assigned to represent your club at the business meeting. And I talk about making sure you understand the district manual. So let me leave you presidents, secretaries, and treasurers with some personal comments. You're going to be the leaders of your club for the next 1 year, beginning July 1. You have to be the person that will inspire your club to have a shared vision. And when I say a shared vision, it means a vision that you will probably begin to develop, but you involve all of your club members to ensure that they have buy-in to that vision and that you pursue that vision as a team, but not as a one man's or one woman's idea. Secondly, you will have to have the courage to challenge things that are adversely impacting your club. So for instance, if you have members in your club who you believe are not following the ideals of Rotary, either in actions or in behavior, whatever, you have a right and an obligation to call them out. You pull them aside and you explain to them what is expected of them as Rotarians. At the same time, you must make your club feel comfortable enough that if they think you're not doing the right things, they can pull you aside and share with you where they think you may be falling short, because that's the way you're going to grow as leaders. So I'm encouraging you to be courageous to not only give advice, but to receive advice. And make sure that you are challenging any and everything that is not or that could inhibit the success of your club. You also have an obligation to ensure that you enable your members to do the things that you assign them to. So whatever the resources that they need, whether it be physical labor, financial support, whatever, you need to make sure you provide that, so when they go out and do those service projects, or when they do all the administrative things in the club, it is done to everybody's satisfaction. And then you have to give them encouragement when they're doing the job, whether they're doing a good job or a great job, or even not to your satisfaction. But you encourage them to continue to always give of their best and make sure that you give the people with the right skills the right opportunities. And finally, it doesn't matter what you say, it is what you do. You have to model the way. You have to be the leader with the right behavior that you would expect from your followers. So I want to thank you for taking this opportunity to accepting the responsibility of leading your club in 2021, 2022. I know you'll be great leaders. I promise you, you'll get the support. So I look forward to a wonderful Rotary year next year. And having said that, Rotarians, please give a rousing welcome to our leader for 2021, 2022, DGE Louis Weaver.
Fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, welcome to the closing of 2021 virtual PATCH seminar. I hope you all are energized and better prepared to start with our wonderful Rotary year 2021-2022. We hope to have informed you and given you all tools needed for your year. Do not forget that you have your assistant governor and that District 7020 has a complete team ready to assist you where needed. And you can go to Rotary Learning Center and rotary.org to get more information. Are you ready to serve? Yes, let's serve to change lives. Let us all look around us and see possibilities of impactful projects we can do to change life in our communities. As Rotarians, we never say, there is nothing I can do. This is not the Rotary way. Do not forget about building your own happy Rotary Club. In the words of Rotarian Mary Birch from Rotary Club of Johnston, Pennsylvania, in Rotary, the happier we are, the harder and better we serve others. Our performance, energy, creativity, increases. I will now do a refresher of some few points I spoke about previously. We need to assume leadership for building strong clubs and start bringing in new members. Our goal is to have 1.3 million members by the end of Rotary year 2022. Do not forget to encourage each Rotarian in your club to bring a guest to the club meeting, projects, and fundraisers. The call to action is each one bring one. We need to take initiative for our Rotary Foundation, which start making our own donation. Our foundation belongs to us. Everybody benefits from the foundation and everybody in Rotary needs to support it. Do not forget, we have a goal to achieve full eradication of polio. But this will not happen if we keep up the fight and keep up the momentum. And that means helping to fill the funding gap for polio endgame plan. And we will give the world a gift that will last forever. Our theme for Rotary year 2021-2022 is Serve to Change Lives, which is the same as Rotary International President Sika Mehta. This is your Rotary moment. Take action to be the change you would like to see in the world. Rotary connects people and inspires people to want to make difference. We all had a tough Rotary year. We learned so many different ways to adapt to our new normal, with many creativity, ideas for projects and ways to conduct our meetings and promote Rotary to the world. I encourage you all to keep up the good work and continue to make difference in life in your community and internationally. Next, we have the 7 areas of Rotary. 7 areas of focus of Rotary: peace and conflict prevention resolution. Here we can take action by identifying a triggering or accelerating factor in conflict and work to mitigate them. Incorporate conflict resolution and mediation strategy into projects to promote peace and understanding. Disease prevention and treatment, whereby we support health education programs that explain how diseases are spread and promote ways to reduce the risk of transmission. Water and sanitation. 1.1 billion people do not have access to safe, clean water around the world. Rotarians can help by improving sanitation facilities by providing toilets, latrines, and flush into a sewer or safe enclosure. Promote good hygiene habits through education. Proper hand washing with soap and water can reduce diarrhea cases by up to 35%. Improve water quality and access to water. Build wells to extract groundwater from underground aquifers. Provide filters to make drinking water safe. Materials and child health. Develop our support program that provide immunization and antibiotics. Measles, malaria, and pneumonia, AIDS, diarrhea diseases are leading causes of death in children under 5. Providing birthing kit to health professionals. Support accredited training program for health professionals. Support continuing education and training for health workers through scholarship, stipends, and public recognitions. Basic education and literacy. 26% of the world's population cannot read, write, or sign their name legally. Education is the path out of poverty and is the first step to preventing and eliminating most of the world's problems. Rotarian can provide teaching training and needed classroom supplies, volunteer in classroom of after school program, develop an adult literacy program, promote student enrollment and prevent health-related absences by sponsoring school meal program and provide safe drinking water and sanitation facilities. Economic and community development. Send a vocational training team to teach business leaders in development communities how to create a business plan and maintain accurate financial accounting. Expand vocational training opportunities, including job placement program at local non-profit organization. Provide equipment of supply to cooperative to increase production and sales in local markets. Environment. Rotarians understand that the world is their oyster. We can see the effect of climate change in the communities. We care about what is happening and don't wait to take action. We are solving the problems the way we always do, with projects, using our connection to change policies and planning for a better future. Members of the Environment Sensitivity Rotary Action Group can help your Rotary Club to plan environment project and publicize your effort. We also have our monthly theme, which you can use as a guideline for your service project each month. Then I would like to remind you all about assisting our own District 7020 late initiative of hand wash. As you know, in Haiti, 70% of the population does not have running water, even up to this year, 2021. Can you believe this? This is why we need your help in sponsoring a well, or you can partner with another club or association to bring clean and safe drinking water to communities in Haiti. You can find more information about handwash at handwash.org on how to get involved or pledge your support. Let's say yes, you can do it. Hereby, I want to thank all the facilitators and special thanks to my secretary Anjali, conference chair, President Alicia Anjaida, the district trainer, PDG Felix Stubb, and PDG Vance Lewis. Let's make the Rotary year 2021-2022 impactful with innovative service project, fundraising, and promoting Rotary to the world. Wear your Rotary pin with pride. Be a proud leader and let's serve to change life. I wish you a successful year 2021-2022. Enjoy your year and feel proud to be a Rotarian and leader of your club. Thank you.
Thank you, District Governor-elect Louis. We look forward to your leadership. And now, before we do the final event of the evening, let me take this opportunity to make one more final comment, but to our presidents, but to everybody generally. We're about to do the four-way test. When you're on Zoom, it's okay to sit while we do it, but when you're in your meetings, you respect the four-way test by standing. But I also want to make the comment, the four-way test starts off the things we think, say, or do. Many of us start by the things we think, say, and do. Some will start by, is it the truth? The four-way test is of the things we think, say, or do. Having said that, let me invite Rotarian Linnell Lawrence to show our past Rotary International president how well we know the four-way test.
Thank you, PDG Stubbs. Good evening, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests. The four-way test are the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to our concern?
Is it fair to our concern?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
hereby pass the floor back to you, PDG Stubbs.
Thank you, sir. I want to make sure I said thank you quickly because I didn't want to add that it's fun to my four-way test. But now that we adjourned, let's party. DJ, hit some music, please. I look forward to seeing you at conference next week, Saturday.